Hello guys, how are you? Welcome back to Stories of God's Faithfulness. Karibuni sana hapa kwenye Pambio.
Yes.
So this is Eva and this is
Hannah.
and this is mommy and daughter, bringing to you our stories of being raised by single moms. So obviously she's my mom and I am her daughter and she's a single mom. And coincidentally, I don't know how to put it, but she was also raised by a single mom. And we just want to share a little bit, tiny bit of that, of being raised by single moms.
Yes, guys, I hope you will be encouraged by our stories, and we welcome you and thank you for watching us and listening to us. May the Lord bless you.
Yeah.
So when I was 2 years and some months, my mother received a beating from my father, who was cruel. She used to be beaten many times. She was running away and going back to her matrimonial home. But this very day, it was in the 70s, my mother ran away, as in my father beat my mother, and mother had to run away with her siblings. And it was an interesting time. Even though I was very young, I have all the stories and I know what transpired on that day. So apparently, when my mother was running away, I was in the hospital, and so my other siblings, my elder sister and a brother, were the ones who were like running away from my father, and my father was chasing them away. And so I was in the hospital. But so from that day, I never saw my father again. And because I came from the hospital to the house and my father was not there, my mother had already found another home. It was, it wasn't the best. It was a shanty, because she was not able to, to go to a good house. And anyway, she managed to raise me up and my other siblings in that small mud house that had holes. When you are seated there, you could see what is happening outside. But that is where I grew up. And so my mother looked for jobs. She was not educated. She was a she was a grade 4 dropout. Grade 4 is class 4. It's class 4 in the Kenyan system. So she was a dropout. And so the only thing she could do is to look for casual jobs. She went and worked in coffee plantations. She worked in many other places that she could find casual jobs to do. And that's how my mother raised me up, together with my other siblings. And so life was tough, life was hard, but she managed to put food on the table. And even if we never afforded like 3 meals in a day, at least she could afford 1 meal in a day. So that was my humble beginning when I was growing up. But when I went through primary school, I realized there is something about names. And I realized my friends were using 3 names, and the last name was their father's name. And even if I knew that mother had already separated with my father, I used my father's name, because it was fun. It was like, later I came to realize being called by your father's name is like, an identity. You want to be identified with your father. And so, of course, my mother was not happy with that, but it was already written in my KCPE certificate, and I couldn't change. And so I went to high school, and I realized the same thing. guys are using 3 names, and I didn't have a problem. I wanted to feel like even me, I belong.
You have a father.
I belong, and I have a father.
Yeah.
So anyway, and that is my last name. My last name is Gige. That is my father's name. But along the way, after they separated, we learned that he died, and so my mother became, a widow then, although she had already become a widow even before my father died. But
you can't become a widow before you die.
Yes, because my father was not there.
Okay, he was not like
there.
literally dead, but he was like
he was not taking care of his wife, and
Okay.
he was also not
Yeah.
was not taking care of his children.
Okay.
So anyway, guys, we survived. I
Yeah.
went through high school, and my mother worked so hard. She made sure she put every one of us. We are 4 in our family, and we all went to school. I went to high school, and I completed my Form 4 in 1991. But in 1992, when I wanted to join high school, of course, my mother knew that I am looking for colleges, and I could go all over. Yes.
Oh, after finishing high school.
After finishing high school,
Yeah.
I was looking for a college to join.
Yeah.
And even if, although my grade was not up and above, it wasn't good, but I still could manage to go to a college.
Yeah.
But I knew my mother was struggling to educate other siblings, so it was going to be hard, even for her to be able to educate me in high school.
Yeah.
For some reasons, I met somebody who introduced me to a certain organization in the CBD, and I was going to look for scholarship.
That's Nairobi CBD.
That is Nairobi CBD.
Yeah.
And I remember drafting a letter looking for scholarship, and I remember telling them my mother is a single mother, and she cannot afford. All my siblings are in school, and I need money to I need to be supported. Like I need a sponsor to be able to continue with my college education. But the letter did not go through. I never received any scholarship, and something terrible happened because my mother fell sick. She had a headache, and she was admitted in hospital. And within a week, she was bedridden. Like she could not walk, she could not even talk. She was becoming worse and worse. And by the time we were learning that, because my mother was living in Kiambu town, and we had already relocated to another place called Mweki. So my mother was coming on weekends. So my uncles were taking care of my mother when she fell sick, and we learned that my mother is sick. Like when she was almost dying. So when I went to see her, it was like, it was terrible, and she was just in her last moments. And I remember we took her to Kenyatta National Hospital, and within 4 days, my mother died. So my dream of becoming a nurse ended there. And even as I said, I had not acquired, good grades. So actually the college I was looking for was not even nursing. I was looking for something like a secretarial. I was looking something that can accommodate my grades. Anyway.
But you wanted to do nursing.
That was my
your
desire.
dream.
That was my dream.
Yeah.
That was my dream. And it started way back when we were living in the slums. Because I saw one doctor whom a nurse. First of all, I was impressed by her uniform. That time they were wearing blue, and then they had like what is it called? Like a cap,
like a small.
Yes. Oh, I admired that lady, and I could see her every morning because we lived in a place where people were walking to work, people were walking to the market. Anyway, my dream ended, and I never even went to do secretarial, and I even stopped dreaming about becoming a nurse. Of course, that it was an impossible dream. So mother passed away, and that was the beginning of another life. That happened in June. It was date 29th of May 1992 when my mother passed away, and we buried her on 6/6 1992. So from that moment that we buried my mother, life started afresh. So it was a new beginning for us. It was a sad beginning, but I can tell you, because I had received Jesus Christ as my personal savior when I was in Form 3 in 1990, and I had a lot of faith in God. I knew that there is a God in heaven, and for sure, because all the time we lived with my mother, she was a single mother, and we didn't have a father, but we knew that we have a God in heaven. So anyway, I started this new life as like a mother, a mother now, because I had to take care of my siblings who were in school, and I didn't know how, but I can tell you God is faithful. So what I want to encourage you with is to tell you that God is faithful, and he means when he says that he is faithful. The Bible tells us in the book of Psalm 68 and verse 5.
Psalm 65.
Oh, is it?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Psalm 68 verse 5 says, Father of the fatherless and protector of widows is God in his habitation. Like God is the father to the fatherless, and he is also, of course, the husband to the widows, because at that time my mother became a widow, and God took care of us with our mother, and he provided for us. We all went to school until the time she died. So that will be another story for another day. But for now, I just want to leave you with that word that God is faithful to the very end. And that's why we say that even when we are going through our darkness, God is still there in your darkness. Even when you don't know what to do, God is still there in your darkness. So you just need to trust in him and have faith in him. At this juncture, I would like to give my daughter Eva a chance.
So yes, I was also raised by a single mom, and she happens to be here, Mama Eva. Yeah, she is a single mom.
Yes. I am a single mom. I am a single mom. I became a single mom at some point.
Yes, she became a single mom at some point. Yes. So my mom got married, immediately after finishing her high school. You got married, yeah?
Yes, I got married 1 year after finishing. I finished my high school in 91, but I got married in 1994.
94, yeah.
So it was actually 2 years.
So she got married in 94, and obviously when you get married, you get kids.
Yes.
So I was born in 95, and I don't have like a lot of memories, so I can only speak from like now my mom telling me, how it was. But my mom became a single mom when I was 2 years, almost 2 years, right?
I became a single mom when you were 1 month to 2 years.
1 month to 2 years. And so, for me, it has always been me and mom. And, at such a young age, you never really know like what families look like, well, the family that we know, that a nuclear family consists of a dad and a mom and children. And so for me, at such a young age, some of those things, some of those memories are not even vivid. And when they separated, obviously we left, mom left where we used to live, and so it was just me and my mom. And me, I knew that is how families are. I didn't know that there is supposed to be like a man in a family, because I had just known my mom. So I thought this was just a normal family. But then now when going to school, there's one time, I think I was in class 1, and I think they wanted to give me a certificate of something I had done well. It was probably maybe maths or science.
It was maths.
It was maths. Yes. I had done well.
Mhm.
I think I was the top student, and so they wanted to give me a certificate. This is first grade or class 1 in the
Yes.
Kenyan system.
Mhm.
And so they come and ask me. So now on all my documents, I never had like a third name. It was just Evelyn Wamboi, right?
Yes.
And then when they came, and then there's this thing. I would say people always expect you to have a third name.
Mhm.
So you have your first name, your maiden name, and then you have your surname.
Mhm.
And usually the surname is the surname in the name of the father, your father. And so I didn't have that. And for me, I didn't know, like, families are supposed to have a dad, and a mom and a child. And so they come and ask me, what's your third name? What's your father? Actually, they asked me, what is your father's name?
Yes.
I gave them a name. I gave them a name. I was called Evelyn Wamboi Mwangi. I gave them a name. And I was so naive. Like, you don't even think about those things when you're now I come and ask my mom,
Yes.
Mom, so who is my father? What is my father's
You were
name?
very young.
So I gave them Mwangi, and that was it. And obviously, being raised by a single mom is not easy, especially I think for me, I experienced it so much when I got to maybe teenagehood. And obviously now, when you start understanding things better, when you're like above 5 years, you can understand, okay, I don't see a man in this house, so that means something has happened. And either your dad has died, either they separated, either they divorced, either he's not in the picture. Things happen. And so you start noticing when you see children, when you see, well, of course, and you spend most of your time in school. So when you're in school, you see when children are being brought to school, the dad is there, the mom is there, or maybe during visitings or when their parents have been called for meetings, you can clearly see there is a dad and a mom and a child and children. And so, it started getting to me, we don't live with a man in the house.
Yes.
I don't have a dad. But I think early on, my mom shared and told me, like, she started preparing me, I think when I was like 9 years. I'm not sure.
When you were actually 5
5 years, yeah.
When you were 5 years,
Yeah.
there is something I spotted. I don't know whether you know
Yeah.
or whether you can recall. So my daughter, Eva, had looked for pictures, and she found a picture of her dad. And you went with it to school. I don't remember how we got that picture in your bag, but I remember I got that picture in your bag.
Wow.
And from that time, I decided I must disclose.
Yeah.
I must, because I realized she may be thinking about, thinking about her dad, and she may have wanted to share her dad with her friends in school.
Yeah.
Because of this, like intimidation, where is your father? The children will ask you that. Peer pressure.
Yeah.
So I decided to share with her when you were 5 years, but I knew you will not understand. So I purposed when you are 10, I will tell you the whole story so that you can understand what happened.
Yeah.
Because I did not want to tell her that her father is dead, as some ladies
Some people would say, yeah.
Some others say even ati aligongwa na lori. Some mothers tell their kids that.
Yeah.
So I wanted to tell her the truth of the matter, and then she can choose what she wants to think about.
Yeah.
And I told her the truth.
Yeah. So personally, I remember like being told several times. It wasn't just one time. When you're a child, you're very curious and you want to ask questions and you want to understand what exactly happened. So yeah, I remember my mom telling me severally, this is what happened. You're just trying to make me aware of the situation, and at no point was there like any form of malice, like the way your parent tells you something to just feed you something evil. Like papa intentionally telling you like bad things about a person. She just explained this was the situation, this is what happened, and that's why we are like this. And to be honest, I think I have had, well, from mom's experience, like she didn't have like a father figure growing up, even after like the dad passed away or after they separated with the mom. But I've had plenty of people, okay, not many, but I've had people standing in that gap of, just playing the role of a dad. And so I would not say that like during my whole childhood or even up until now that I've missed having a father figure, because I've had people showing up for me, uncles showing up and, just playing that role. Of course, they won't kiss you goodnight, as we see,
Yes.
or, I mean, they would say maybe I love you, but, you don't get that so many times. But just showing up as a father, shows up. And so I've had the privilege of having such men in my life who have showed up. And hey, I went through a time
Yes.
when I was a teenager where, hey, hormones can make you do crazy things. And I think I remember, just going into these times where I was very angry, at my mom. And then when you start experiencing puberty,
Yes.
and then you start liking a boy over there,
Yes.
and then your mom knows that, like,
There is
akupate
a
muna
boy.
huyo.
Yes. Yes.
And then your mom tells you, no, you should not be dating right now. You should not even think about a boy right now. Your priority is to study. And that time, unakwanga umemea horns. It's like, when you manga kabisa.
First of all, when did you experience that? Because you were very young. It was in primary school.
Yes, it was in primary
school.
Maybe class 6.
And I saw this letter, written by this boy that I love you. Can you imagine, in primary school? So I told her, no, mom, it is too early to do that.
Yeah. Hey, but you were strict, Mom.
I was.
Hey,
oh my gosh, I'm sorry.
You were very strict.
I think that's why you became the who you are today.
The who I am today. Yeah, so I remember getting so mad, and I think I even wrote a letter saying, maybe if I was with my dad, he would have allowed me to do this and this and this. And did you see that letter? I don't know.
Did you give it to me?
I don't know.
I can't remember.
I remember getting so mad. Hey, but then when you're a teenager, you feel like nobody can tell you nothing. You're like on top of the world. And so there were those moments. It's okay, mommy.
Okay.
It's okay. So those moments are there. And I kid you not, if you're in a similar situation, if you have a child and you're a single mom and you're watching this, or you're a child of a single parent, I'm sure you can identify with some of the stories that we are sharing here. And it is normal. It is normal. I think we just need to make sure you don't get to a point where like you're angry at your parents and your relationship spoils. So there's always an opportunity to have a middle ground and to reconcile, even in those situations.
Yes.
But anyway, yeah, so those are some of the issues that I went through. But my mom really showed up for me, and not just her, but also like people in our family. They really showed up, they really showed up. And for me, I honestly can't say that like I didn't live in a slum personally, but we lived in the ghetto at some point early on when I was growing up. But my mom really worked hard. Oh my gosh, this woman is a super woman. She worked so hard, like I remember and then at some point, I think I was very entitled. It got to a point where I was very entitled, and just the peer pressure of wanting to fit in with your friends. So I remember, like in primary school, I always had all the books needed. I would just come, bring the list of books, give my mom, and tell her I need these books. And then I was very anxious. Like when I give her the list in the morning, like I expect her to go buy the books like that day and bring them back that evening. So when the books don't come, like she used to come home at 9, and I was just there at the door waiting to see if she has carried bags of goods. And then sometimes she hadn't bought the books, and then I would get so sad and mad because I know that tomorrow when I go to school, I'll find some people with books. So at some point I was very entitled as a child, but hey, mom came through for me. She got me what I needed. Not all the time what I wanted, but I had everything that I needed, and I thank you.
Yes,
thank you for showing up.
One thing I remember, you wrote me a letter and you were mad.
I was mad.
Oh my goodness, you were so mad. I don't know whether that letter is the one that had Dad there, if Dad was here, but I remember you had joined a guides, Scouts club.
Scouts,
she was a scout in
Yeah.
her primary school,
Yeah.
and they wanted, it was a public holiday, and you were being told to go to Uhuru Park, and you were young.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. And then she wanted to go alone.
Yeah.
So I could imagine her going and marching in Uhuru Park, and she's alone there, and I denied.
Yeah.
For some reasons, I never felt peace
Yeah.
to release you
Yeah.
alone.
Yeah.
And I said no.
Mm.
And I remember you were mad. You even wrote me a letter. I am sorry. Can you remember the letter you wrote?
I can't. Do you have it?
I think I have it, but
It's probably
it is
somewhere.
not here now.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
but I have kept it.
Yeah.
It is there.
Yeah. Anyway, guys, we've had such good moments and not so good moments.
Yes.
But above every other thing, I think God has just helped us to heal whatever wounds that were there, whatever wounds that were caused, just separation. Separation does a lot to the people, to the couple involved, to the parents involved, and also to the children. So for me, it was a bit different because I never really knew my dad. So I wouldn't say that I missed this about him. I never really knew him. I can just see pictures.
Yes.
And so I didn't have someone to compare him to. So the only person I had was mom. And so there are those times when I was very feisty, I was very angry, but we made it.
I can tell you, for the 2 years and 8 months I lived with your dad,
yeah,
he loved you so much.
Oh.
And he could hold you. Sometimes we could go to a park, and he could hold you all the way to the park. And I remember we were going to Parklands Park, and it was on a Sunday after church, and he went calling you, and we walked because we were very young couple, we didn't have money,
Yeah.
So we walked,
Yeah.
and he was trying to teach you trees,
Yeah.
and you were trying to say trees, and
Yeah.
it was a nice moment. It was a nice moment where I know he loved you so much.
Oh my gosh.
And even when we separated,
yeah,
I remember my uncle and his wife came to visit. And of course, they went and they were told there was a misunderstanding.
Yeah.
And so they had to come to where I was. It was just a distant away.
Yeah.
So he brought them, and I cooked for them chapatis, and they ate, and we escorted them. As we were escorting them, he holded you. That time he held you.
Yeah.
You were 1 month away to 2 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and even when we were coming back, bado alikuwa amekuheld.
Yeah.
So and so that picture is still vivid in my mind, and I see like he loved you.
Yeah.
He loved you so much. So much.
So much.
It's-
So much.
it is just that after separation, after that episode, he never came back to look for you.
Yeah.
He never even came back to school, and many years have gone by.
Yeah.
But our God in heaven has been faithful to me and to my daughter Eva.
Yeah. Yeah, guys. So yes, that's just snippets of like how life was being raised by single women, and these two women are very strong women who are very hardworking, and they've really showed up for their children.
Yeah, so that is a story.
Yeah.
It's kind of a same pattern repeating itself. I was, we were deserted by our father.
Yeah.
She was deserted by her father, because after that your father went and he relocated to a different place.
Yeah.
Even if I would want to reach him, I wouldn't have reached him.
Yeah.
And he didn't even want people to know where he has gone to.
Yeah.
So it was very difficult. He never called again. He never came again. And we were there for about 10 years before we relocated to a
somewhere
different
else.
location. So he would have come, but he didn't come.
Yeah.
I actually wanted it to work.
Yeah.
I didn't mean it to separate completely. And but after 3 years, something happened, and I will tell you in the other video
In the
what
next
happened.
video.
So, yes, I will tell you, and I will also tell you what happened to my father. In the time when they separated with my mother.
Yeah.
Because something definitely happened. Yeah, but that will be on the in the following video.
In the following video, we will see you.
We will see you.
We will see you there.
Yes,
We really hope that you, as you're watching this, as you're listening to this, that you have been encouraged, you have been inspired, and that your life will be transformed.
Yes.
For the glory and honor of God.
Yes.
And so, yes.
Yeah. So if you don't mind, guys, please subscribe to our channel.
Yeah.
Hannah Eva.
Yeah.
Stories of
God's faithfulness. Yes. Bye-bye. We love you.
20 minutes.